A shadow is moving through the cattails before sunrise. On a floating mound of wet grass, a sandhill crane lowers her head until her beak almost touches the nest. Beneath her breast, one egg has already cracked. A second lies beside it, pale olive and freckled brown, still warm under the feathers. The chick inside the first egg has been working all night. It is not strong. Not yet. It is only a damp little survivor with a beak, a heartbeat, and a deadline in a marsh where almost everything has a nose, a wing, or a reason to look down. The mother hears the rustle again. Across the shallow water, a raccoon steps onto a half-sunken log. The crane rises slowly. She is almost 4 feet tall, gray as stormlight, red crown bright against the morning. She opens her wings in warning. The raccoon pauses. Inside the egg, the chick pushes. For a sandhill crane, hatching is not an arrival. It is the first test in a life with no walls, no roof, and no time to be delicate. The shell breaks. The marsh goes very still. Spring has come to the wetland in pieces. There is open water where winter ice has pulled away. Brown reeds stand beside fresh green shoots. The mud holds tracks of deer, muskrat, coyote, and crane. Every morning, the place wakes in layers. Frogs first, then red-winged blackbirds, then the long rolling calls of cranes over the mist. This is not a quiet nursery. It is a nursery with traffic. A sandhill crane pair chooses a nest site where water helps them. The nest is usually a low platform of marsh plants, built by both parents from sedges, cattails, reeds, grasses, and stems. A nest over shallow water is not a fortress, but it changes the price of getting close. Predators have to wade, make noise, and cross open space while 2 tall birds with sharp beaks are watching. That is the plan. The pair has been here for weeks. Before the eggs, there was dancing. Wings lifted, heads thrown back, leaps that look half courtship and half surprise at having legs this long. The dance helps bind the pair, and for cranes, that bond matters. Both parents build. Both parents incubate. Both parents defend. The female has done much of the night sitting, folded low over the eggs while the male stands nearby in the reeds, all height and suspicion. At dawn, they trade places. One bird rises. The other steps in. An egg is turned with the beak. The body settles down again. For 29 to 32 days, the eggs have lived under this rhythm. Warmth. Turning. Listening. Outside, rain has raised the marsh. Wind has flattened the reeds. A northern harrier has skimmed low over the water. A fox has passed on the bank. The eggs have heard all of it through shell. Now one shell opens. The first chick does not look heroic. It looks like a wet cinnamon-colored comma with feet. Its down clings to its body. Its neck wobbles. Its eyes are open, but the world it sees is enormous and confusing. Gray feather above, brown nest below, cold air all around, and a parent making a low sound that means stay close. The mother lowers herself again. The chick vanishes beneath her breast feathers, where heat does what courage cannot. A newly hatched sandhill crane chick is precocial. That means it enters the world far more developed than a helpless songbird chick. Its eyes are open. It is covered in down. Within hours, when the down dries and its legs begin to cooperate, it can stand, stumble, swim, and follow. The second egg rocks. The male returns from the feeding edge, stepping through water. He lowers his bill into the mud, brings up plant matter, then watches the horizon again. The pair's first job is warmth. Their second job is vigilance. Their third job is accepting that both jobs will interrupt each other every few seconds. By mid-morning, the first chick has dried into soft yellow-brown down. It pushes out from under the mother, stands for half a second, and sits down. The mother reaches toward it with her bill and offers a tiny morsel. At first, crane chicks are fed by their parents. Soon they begin pecking for themselves, learning by following the adults through shallow water and mud, eating whatever the marsh makes available at chick height. But food is not the first destination. The first destination is away from the nest. Sandhill crane chicks often leave the nest within a day of hatching. Some can move in only hours. The nest that protected the eggs becomes dangerous once the chicks are visible and noisy. A nest has one address. Predators are very good at remembering addresses, so the family moves. The mother steps off the mound into water that reaches only partway up her leg. To her, it is a shallow crossing. To the chick, it is a shining brown canyon. The chick stands at the edge. Behind it, the second egg gives another tiny crack. The mother waits. The chick leans forward. Its toes touch water. It flutters tiny wings that cannot fly, then tumbles from the nest into the shallows. For one terrifying second, the marsh swallows it up to the shoulders. Then its head pops back into view. It paddles. Not gracefully, not efficiently, but enough. The mother lowers her body, guiding it toward a mat of sedges. The male steps to the outer side of the family, placing himself between the chick and the open water. This is the new shape of their world. One parent near, one parent scanning, chick in the smallest possible pocket of safety. The raccoon returns at noon. It comes from the bank, nose low, paws careful. Raccoons understand wetlands. They know nests. They know eggs. They also know that a crane bill is not decorative. The male sees it first. He freezes, neck high. The mother crouches around the chick, making herself a tent of feathers. The raccoon enters the water. The male opens his wings. He does not need to win a fight. He needs to make the cost of coming closer higher than the reward. He walks forward with his bill pointed like a spear. The crane jumps. Long legs kick forward. Water splashes. The raccoon backs up, then retreats into the reeds. This is how the chick survives its first day. Not by being safe, but by being surrounded by decisions made faster than danger can arrive. By evening, the second egg has opened. Now there are two chicks under the mother's feathers, both dry, both hungry, both apparently committed to walking in opposite directions. Sandhill cranes often lay 2 eggs, though not every brood raises 2 young successfully. A predator, weather, hunger, accident, or sibling competition may take one before fledging. 2 eggs improve the chance that at least 1 young crane will carry the line forward. But 2 chicks also double the number of tiny emergencies. The younger chick is smaller and weaker. The older one has had almost a full day to practice pecking, wobbling, and being in the way. The parents divide their attention. The male leads the older chick toward a muddy feeding lane. The female broods the younger one closer to the reeds. This separation can reduce competition, but it stretches the family across more space. And space is where danger enters. The next morning brings rain, first as mist, then as cold, steady tapping on the marsh. Drops roll from the adult's feathers. The chicks do not have that protection yet. Their down can chill, and a wet chick that cannot get under a parent is a chick in trouble. The family moves through sedges taller than the chicks' heads. The older chick follows the male, pecks at a beetle, misses, and finally swallows something small enough to count as breakfast. The younger chick struggles behind the mother. Every few minutes, she lowers herself so it can dive under her feathers. A nest is no longer the center. The center is wherever the chicks can eat, hide, and warm themselves before the next threat crosses the marsh. By the 3rd day, the chicks know the basic rule. When a parent gives a low call, freeze. When a parent walks, follow. When shadow crosses the reeds, get low. They do not know why. In the marsh, obedience can be faster than understanding. The shadow this time belongs to a raven. It passes overhead with easy intelligence, black wings cutting through pale sky. Ravens are watchers and opportunists. An egg, an exposed chick, a distracted parent, any of these can turn a passing bird into a problem. The male crane looks up, then he leaps. For a bird built like a walking yardstick, a sandhill crane can be startlingly explosive. He springs from the water, wings beating, feet thrust forward. He cannot chase the raven far. He only has to turn the sky above his chicks into disputed territory. The raven slides away. The chicks remain still in the reeds, one with a strand of grass across its face and the doomed patience of a creature that has been told not to move. The danger passes. The family feeds again. Days stretch into a week. The chicks grow visibly. Their legs lengthen. Their steps become less like accidents and more like choices. The parents still feed them, but less constantly. The chicks begin to do the work themselves. This is the behavior that changes their odds. They are born mobile, and mobility lets the family use the wetland as cover, pantry, and escape route. A helpless chick tied to a nest would be trapped. A crane colt can move from danger, tuck under a parent, swim through shallow water, and learn the map one reed bed at a time. But mobility has a cost. A mobile chick can also wander. On the 8th morning, the older chick spots movement near the waterline. A dragonfly nymph shifts in the mud. The chick steps toward it, then another step. The male is feeding with his head down. The mother is brooding the younger chick. The older chick slips through a gap in the sedges. For a few seconds, nobody sees it. The chick finds the nymph, jabs, misses, and lifts its head into open water. On the bank, a fox stops. The fox is red, lean, and silent enough that the cattails seem louder than its feet. It has come because spring offers small meals that have not yet learned the whole world. The chick freezes. The fox lowers its head. The male crane sees the fox at the same time the mother gives a sharp call. The chick runs. It is not a beautiful run. It is a tiny, frantic argument against extinction. The fox enters the water. The male comes from the left, wings wide, bill forward. The mother rises behind the chick. For a moment, the marsh narrows to one strip of mud between hunger and family. The fox lunges. The male strikes downward with his bill. The fox twists away, splashing. The mother steps between it and the chick, lowering her head and hissing. The older chick darts beneath her body. The fox hesitates. It is not afraid of a chick. It is very interested in avoiding a beak to the face from a very tall bird. The male advances again. The fox backs off into the reeds. The cranes do not celebrate. Wild animals rarely have time for the little victory parade humans would definitely schedule. The younger chick is still hidden. The older chick is alive. The parents move the family deeper into the marsh. Weeks pass. The chicks are no longer soft commas. They are lanky, rust-colored youngsters with long legs, sharper bills, and the beginning of a crane's strange elegance. They still cannot fly. For roughly 2 months, they must survive on foot before their first real flight. The wetland changes around them. The water drops after a dry spell. Mudflats widen. Shallow water that once slowed raccoons and foxes becomes a walkable path. The family shifts toward thicker vegetation and deeper channels. At 3 weeks, the chicks spend less time under the adults, but still press close during cold rain and at night. At 4 weeks, they peck through grass, mud, seeds, and small invertebrates. Their bodies are building flight from the ground up. Flight begins long before takeoff. It begins in leg strength, balance, feather growth, and the practice of staying alive long enough for wings to become useful. One afternoon, thunder builds over the marsh. The adults call and move the chicks off an exposed mud bank toward higher vegetation. Heavy rain can drown a low nest, but these chicks are past the nest stage. Now flooding is a different problem. Water rises in the feeding lanes. The younger chick falls behind. The mother turns back, lowers her body against the flow, and the chick scrambles onto a raised mat of sedges. For an hour, they wait under rain. When it lightens, the family emerges. The chicks shake themselves. The older one pecks at a floating seed as if nothing has happened. Survival often looks like that. Not one grand heroic act, just 1,000 small recoveries before the next problem arrives. By the second month, the young cranes are taller, stronger, and harder to hide. The adults still guard them, but the family now travels farther. They feed in wet meadows, retreat to water for safety, and practice short bursts of running with wings held out. The first real flight does not come all at once. It comes as a series of almosts. The older juvenile runs, flaps, hops, and lands exactly where it began. The younger one tries the same thing with less confidence and more splashing. The adults continue feeding. No one is impressed. Then, one morning between 65 and 75 days after hatching, the older young crane runs into a strip of open meadow. Its wings beat harder. Its feet leave the ground. Only a little. Only for a few seconds. But the body stays up. It lands badly, catches itself, and stands tall. The younger bird follows days later, lifting over the grass in a low, wobbly line. It is not grace. It is enough. Enough changes everything. A flying young crane can escape ground danger in a way a running chick cannot. It can follow parents across wider spaces and begin learning the larger map. Feeding fields, night roosts, safe water, and cranes calling beyond the trees. The family is still not finished. Sandhill crane juveniles often remain with their parents through winter and into the following spring. The bond that began on a wet nest will carry them far beyond this marsh, into open fields, shallow night roosts, and the long roots of the species. The chick that broke the first shell is no longer a chick. It is a young crane with long legs, growing wings, and the memory of every rule the marsh has pressed into its body. Freeze when the shadow passes. Run when the call sharpens. Follow the tall gray shapes through the reeds. Trust water, but not too much. Eat quickly. Rest under feathers while you still fit. And when the world opens into air, use it. Late in the season, the family stands at the edge of the wetland in gold evening light. The adults are alert as ever. The young cranes feed beside them, nearly as tall now, still learning caution and opportunity. A raven crosses far overhead. The male looks up, but does not leap. The young cranes look up too. They know that shape. They know the rule. The bird passes on. In the place where the nest once floated, reeds have grown thick enough to hide the old mound completely. The eggshells are gone. The tracks have washed away. The marsh has no monument for what happened here. It only has 2 young cranes still standing. That is the whole record. In a wetland, survival is rarely loud for long. It is a crack in a shell before sunrise. A parent standing between hunger and a chick. A cold crossing made one small step at a time. Wings becoming useful just before the world gets bigger. The crane mother's job was never to make the marsh safe. She could not. Her job was to keep life moving through it. From egg to water to reed shadow to first flight. And for this season, at least, she has done enough.